have seen dead people come back to life.
You have seen dead people.
Of course. If there's someone that is sick here, let me pray.
Christianity is a cult. A bunch of people rally behind someone. They take his word as law. It is a cult.
Christianity is not a cult because the Holy Bible shows to us.
You cannot decide that the Bible is the source of truth. That is cult-like thinking. Christianity is a cult. You can't change my mind.
In Christianity, there should not be tithe. There should not be offering. There should not be a professional pastor, because that pastor is ultimately living off of donations and tithes and offerings. You should have a job.
I married a medical doctor by training who has been a full-time pastor for 8 years now. Giving is a lifestyle. Not every pastor is trying to exploit people. And a lot of pastors that are not even exploiting are not popular.
Can I take you to a mortuary where there are like 1,000 dead people? If you can raise one of them, I'll believe you.
It is. Have you heard of?
You're suddenly shaking.
Here are the prompts we'll be discussing on today's episode. Our first prompt is, Christianity is a cult. Please, both sides pick a representative to represent you and send them out.
A cult is a group with extreme beliefs that are different from contemporary held ones. Does Christianity follow this definition? Practically, no. Even within Christianity, we find cults.
A bunch of people rally behind someone. They take his word as law. They abide by the rules set by this governing body of said group of people. And in that sense, it is a cult. All religions are, to some extent, cults. The only difference is scale, because we are used to seeing cults in a negative light. Christianity is a cult.
I agree with you when you say Christianity is a cult in the broad definition of cults. When we look at cults in the negative side, will you say Christianity is like that?
Christianity is a double-edged sword. It has the good side, it has the bad side.
Those cults, they follow somebody, a human being.
What was Jesus?
Jesus Christ was totally divine and totally human at the same time.
So his nature was human, but he wasn't human.
He had a human nature that was totally human, and he also had a divine nature. He was not human
totally
at all.
Divine.
Yes. When we look at cults in the sense of sacrificing themselves, very recently there was a cult that believed that they were called to die and all of them committed suicide, I think somewhere in California like that. Christianity is nothing like that.
The strange practices you're talking about sacrificing, in the Bible, people sacrifice goats, they sacrificed all sorts of things.
Was that Christianity?
If it's in the Bible, what is it? Islam?
No. It was...
It's Christianity. When you decry the practices of other people, you are decrying the practices of the Bible as well.
You just need 5 minutes to the Bible to know that those sacrifices were not Christian practices.
So, what were they?
They were Jewish practices.
Time up. Please, both sides, send out your next representative.
I can understand why people would say Christianity is a cult. We have seen a situation whereby you have a pastor, whatever the pastor says, whether right or wrong, his followers just jump on the bandwagon. Paul was talking about the Berean Christians, and he said that they went back to find out for themselves whether what they were taught was true or not, irrespective of whoever was teaching them. That is a Christian practice. There is also the place of loyalty, and I know that loyalty can be taken to the extreme.
The loyalty being taken to the extreme that you're talking of is part of the religion. Those that are not taking the loyalty to the extreme are called lukewarm Christians for a reason.
No, I'm not a lukewarm Christian, and I don't take my loyalty to the extreme.
So the loyalty is like halfway.
Loyalty to the extreme means that probably my pastor says, that guy, see the way he looks. I'm sure by the way he looks, he's a terrible human being. Some will say, oh, yeah, but I would say, I don't think so. Why don't we get to know him first?
You keep talking about following pastors, but Christianity as a religion is about following Jesus. That following is very cult-like. Christianity follows Jesus that way.
Okay.
Which is the point I'm trying to make.
So, number one,
at the end of the day, it's a cult. When we say it's a cult, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just follows all the initiation, the rituals, everything is in Christianity.
What rituals?
You go to church every Sunday, Easter, Christmas, there are rituals. For the Catholics, Holy Communion, this, that.
Why would you say that those are rituals? What is an initiation?
You have to be baptized.
That's like
an initiation.
You see, the word initiation it's a very strong word to use to describe Christian practices.
Time up. Please, both sides, choose your next representative to come out.
Christianity is a cult. You can't change my mind.
My goal is not to change your mind. My goal is to present the truth. And this is the truth. Christianity is not a cult because the Holy Bible shows to us, first of all, the creation of man and presents to us Christianity as a system that the creator of man designed to have a relationship with him. If you have an organization, you have your company and you set your modus operandi and this is what it is established for, then if there is a system.
Christianity is one of the oldest collectives, one of the most systemically validated collectives in our society. It's the backbone of so many countries, so many states, so many societies and cultures. So you can't come and tell me that Christianity is not a cult because they have a modus operandi. Like, you are contradicting yourself. You are, because those sets of conduct that everyone are meant to follow is what the standard of Christianity is. People will take it to the extreme and judiciously have everyone follow those
to
doctrines.
the extreme,
because at the end of the day,
established.
Christianity falls under a cult. And you use the Bible as a point of reference. And that's very interesting because Christianity is not the only religion that exists in the world today.
First of all, Christianity is not a religion, so we cannot, if we don't agree on that premise.
Let me finish my point, please. Yeah? Can I finish my point, please? So you say that Christianity is a way of life. I did
not say it is a way of life.
You imply that by saying it is not a religion.
You cannot take my implication. I have not told you that it is a way of life.
From what I understand of what you are saying, Christianity is not a religion, which means it's probably like a way of life or a culture or whatever it is you believe it is. It is still one of the biggest religions in the world, and it is not the only one. You cannot decide that the Bible is the source of truth. That is cult-like thinking.
The truth in the Bible, it can be proven historically, it can be proven archaeologically, and it can be proven scientifically.
So can events in the Quran. Muhammad existed.
The Bible has more evidences for truth. Now, when you talk about Christianity, you are not just talking about a set of moral laws of do's and don'ts, which is how you are seeing it.
You can't tell me
life,
you can't tell me how I'm seeing
something. Do you believe that you were created?
You can't tell me how I'm seeing something. Just like I can't tell you what
you're implying. Do you believe that you are created?
That's not the question. The question is Christianity a cult? No. And I'm telling you that my answer is yes.
My point is, Christianity is not a cult because there is a life, there is a system that the one that created you and created all humans decided and determined that this is how these people can have a relationship with me. And that is what Christianity is.
But you're positing that to me as an absolute truth, and I reject it.
It is an absolute
No, I reject that absolute truth. I reject it for myself.
If you don't believe in absolute truth,
that is a function of
do you believe in good and evil?
That has nothing to do with
it. It has something to do because there has to be absolute truth for you to have good or for you to have evil. There has to be a standard.
That has nothing to do with the question.
It has something to do with the validity of the Bible, and I'm telling you that the Bible.
But we're not arguing the validity of the Bible. However, you are proving
because my point is from the Bible. Every point I'm going to make from me is from the Bible because I am a Christian.
I made my point, and it's made it for me.
My name is Michael Adegoke. I am a website flipper. I am a Christian. In Christianity, our truth and our facts is based on the Holy Bible. What the Word of God says is what we take. God made man, and God designed Christianity for man to have that relationship. All of this conversation is not just about arguing or proving a point. It's simply showing that this is the system. This is the way. There is a maker of men that loves men, that cares about them, that wants them to have eternal life because that is the best kind of life anyone can have.
Can we have the next representative come out from both sides?
Do you believe that Christianity can be occultic?
No.
It can't be.
It can't be occultic.
Why do you say so?
Because of my own encounter. I don't have any other reason here to say why Christianity can. I'm not going to go through the Bible. I'm not going to go through any other thing. I'm going to go through how he came to me.
But when we're talking about Christianity, it's like not just you now, right?
Well, I have to talk about me because I'm a Christian and I'm standing on that faith, and it wasn't forced and there weren't rules to it. The way I see cult is that it is a rule. When I was younger, I wanted to join some kind of cult group when I was in school. And I know the rules that were given to cultists. Now, when I came into Christianity, and that's why I said I would talk about myself, I didn't feel that I had these rules and regulations.
Yeah, but experiences are subjective.
I won't be able to talk about everybody.
No. So,
you understand?
I'm not dismissing your experience. I am not dismissing it in any way. Do you believe that there are some church bodies that have turned occultic?
Yes, I do. But church is not Christianity.
Okay.
We must know the difference between Christianity and church.
So now, would you say there are a lot of churches that are operating in an occultic manner?
Of course.
Okay, so what you're trying to say, if I'm understanding you well, is if you're practicing Christianity properly, it should not be occultic.
It shouldn't be occultic.
Okay, what do you think is more popular in this day and age?
Oh, of course, we have a lot of things that look occultic.
So
both in Christianity and non-Christianity.
So we are kind of agree
Yeah,
right? If you're doing
definitely.
Christianity how it should be,
How it should be.
it is not meant to be occultic.
It's
But
not
what
meant
we
to be.
have, though, in society
In the
now
churches.
is a lot
In
of...
the churches. When it comes to Christianity, who is Christ-like, a spirit being, is not occultic. My name is Treasure Ayola Okonkwo. I'm a school director, an actor, a pastor's wife. I'm in the side of Christianity. It's not a cult because I wasn't forced into it. I don't live by rules and laws. I live by grace, and grace has the power for us to live above sin. For me, it was more of a relationship with God, and the love of God cannot be called a cult.
Normally in cults, it's usually hard to exit. If a person no longer wants to be a Christian, so how do you feel like the Christian body should address such a person if the person wants to leave?
Love. That's who Christ is.
That's how it should be.
That's how he's been.
If you are practicing Christianity as it is meant to be practiced according to what is written in the Bible, it should not have the occultic vibe. But there are a lot of people who say they are practicing Christianity, they have that occultic vibe.
Before we move on to the next prompt, this would be a great time to subscribe to the channel. We have a goal to surpass 500,000 subscribers this year, and we know you guys can help us do that. Now, let's get back into the show. Our next prompt is, miracles exist. Both sides, please pick a new representative to come out and represent you.
I believe miracles exist. I believe so. There's certain groups of people within the body of Christ that doctor miracles. And that has cast the doubt that is looming even over miracles that are genuine. Sincerely, I wouldn't come before you to lie to you because you're an intelligent person. And so I wouldn't insult your intelligence. But I have seen miracles. I have experienced miracles. And I've also experienced times when I actually wanted a miracle and it didn't happen.
I believe that there are lots of things that we cannot explain in the world around us. And I understand why people feel the impulse to term that as miracles. I have seen events in my life that's like, what is going on here? I feel like Christianity so much exploits it. It enables a lot of people to exploit the concept of faith and turn it into like a whole production to draw people and predate on their desire for an intervention in things that are out of their control.
I would agree with some of the things that you have said. The problem that we have is that Christianity is establishing a relationship with God. That relationship with God must come first before every other thing. When you realize that it is the priority of your relationship with God first, above any miracle, signs, or wonders that you may see, and from there every other thing stems. That is what Christianity is all about.
A lot of the things that I consider signs, wonders, miracles happened when I am now. I'm not in the faith. I'm not a part of the church. So I don't disagree with you about like the essence and the validity of these things. But I do want to say that you don't have to be a Christian to witness these things.
A person can experience that miracle because of the benevolence of God. God is not here to take a big stick and begin to knock you all over the head with it. Some people have slept on their beds. The doctor has declared that, look, you are going to die. They themselves have felt that there was no hope. And somehow, things turned around.
Time up.
My name is Omolola. I'm a lecturer and I'm on the side of the Christians. Some people do exploit it. They promise them a miracle, especially, people that have a need just so they could get them into church. But there are also true miracles that happen. I have a personal experience, not that I saw or whatever, it happened to me personally.
Now, can we have the next representative come out from both sides?
My own definition of miracles is something that had no chance of happening, not something that had little chance of happening. For example, a severed limb, like an amputee growing back their hands, that is what I count as miracles. Not we have been married for 10 years and she put to bed last week. That's not a miracle.
So that's very example that you gave of an amputee hand growing back again. There are countless times that has happened.
Never.
Okay, never in your world. Like, how would you say never if you have not searched?
Give me one example.
You can search. You can search on YouTube.
Is there any proof? Is
on
there any
video?
Proof? Is there video?
Yes.
Of an amputee regrowing a limb?
Of leg growing back, at least down, growing out.
Wait, sorry. Not that funny one they do that and they say, oh, one hand is longer than one. I'm talking of like it was cut.
Even amputee.
Like it was cut and then it grows back.
What is the most hopeless?
Not that funny thing they do.
What is the most hopeless situation that someone can be in? Death. People have been raised back to life before.
Never happened.
Again,
Don't
in your world.
believe. It has never happened.
How can you make believe? Someone
It's
that is
very
dead,
easy.
that is in a morgue,
Now, see,
coming back to life.
How do we confirm that something works?
The best confirmation is for you to
Chill.
experience it.
Very good,
And,
very
and,
good,
and the
very
reason
good.
you are
Chill,
doubting it
chill,
because
chill,
you have
chill,
not
chill.
seen it.
Bro,
There
chill.
are people like
How
you
do
that
you-
have believed that it never happened until they are in the situation that they needed it. And when they needed it, it happened to them and they
I just
began to
asked
know
you a
that it's
simple
actually
question.
true.
I just asked you a simple question. How do you confirm that something works?
If you take a medicine and you get healed, how do you confirm it? Is it not your state before and after that confirms it? Do you want us
And
to try it
everybody
out
tries
now?
it out.
Do you
So,
want, do you,
but
do you
the
want us
thing
to
is-
try
but
it
the
out?
thing
If
is-
that's
but
it.
the thing is-
If there's someone that is sick
but
here,
the
let me
thing is-
pray. And you will see it. Is there a lame person here? Let us see. So,
Your
so,
L-
so this,
your
this
L
thing
is going to be so chill.
No, like, you
Chill.
think this is like fairy tale. These are things that happen.
You cannot raise a
I have
dead person.
experienced
Somebody that is
miracles
dead
before,
is
brother.
dead.
I have experienced
Somebody
it
that is
before.
dead is
I have
dead.
seen it happening to people.
You've
People
experienced a
getting
dead
healed.
person coming back to life.
I have seen dead people come back to life.
You
yes.
have seen dead people.
Of course,
Not
brother.
once.
See, the fact that it's just like you are believing that there are no islands because you have never been to an island. That is not a proof. Your mind is not the world.
Okay, show me that this thing happens. The thing is,
Okay, so
if
now I
you
want
tell-
to show you.
So if I tell you,
how do you
wait,
want me
chill.
to show you?
Can I take you to a mortuary where there are like 1,000 dead people? If you can raise one of them, I'll believe you.
Of
Maybe
course.
Cruz can organize that show. We can do it on live camera, please.
So that
please,
is,
I'm begging you. Just
that
one
is
person.
that is where they miss it, and they say pastor should go to the hospital, pastor should go to the mortuary. We are in a world that has principles and orders.
You said you can pray and something happens. I said fine, let us test. That is how I believe things.
That is.
I'm not believing.
So I should have access to other people's corpses because I'm
Yes.
a Christian. Would you not tag me that I am violating?
You're
so
not violating. Don't worry. We'll do the paperwork and everything. We'll go to a morgue and you raise one dead person.
It is. Have you heard of?
You're suddenly shaking. I want you to
not
raise
shaking.
one dead person. Just one.
I will not shake.
Time up.
I'm Stanley Oruche. I'm a businessman and a maintenance technician. I used to be a Christian growing up. I was born a Christian and slowly I deconverted. I haven't seen a miracle happen. People that were on wheelchairs stood up. That could be fakes, that could be anything. I need proof that is going to make me change my mind. If you're so sure it works, you say you can raise the dead, yeah? Let us go to the mortuary where there are real dead people in fridges and see what happens.
The scripture says in the book of Hebrews chapter 13 verse 8, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Jesus Christ performed miracles that are well documented in history. Even apart from Bible, other books also corroborate these accounts. We have documented videos. If you have ever heard of healing streams with Pastor Chris, you have videos, people that got healed. I was once diagnosed with tuberculosis that I never treated and I got healed. I have laid hands on my children and healed them. I was in a program and I saw someone with crutches dropping the crutches. So I'm making my points from what the scripture says. First of all, that is my standard of truth and experience that I've had. My last child, it was just me, my wife, and the midwife. We had the baby in our house. Since the day the baby was given birth to till now, we have never been to the hospital.
Can we have the next representative come out?
A miracle is simply what occurs and what you don't understand. My own personal grouse with Christianity is sustained by peddling miracles. Anything you want, it's a miracle. You want the fruit of the womb, but you can get it, it's a miracle. You want that job, even if you are ill-qualified, go on, apply, it's a miracle. It's incredibly dangerous when you think about it, because if you are sick, you don't need to go to hospital, go to church, you get a miracle. There are things that have happened that you can't really explain. It doesn't make it a miracle, it just means you don't understand it. We've seen things back in the past where scientists were like, oh, we don't know how this happened, and then eventually found out that, okay, because of A, B happened. Let me give you a quick example. When smallpox was killing everyone, there were some nuns that had a particular disease. They found out that these nuns don't usually get this smallpox. Why? For them, it was just a miracle. They're like, oh my God, these people, Jesus just loves them. But they found out that they had a particular disease that once you have that disease, it prevents you from getting smallpox. They started getting just a little bit of that disease and giving it to other people so they can all get that disease, and then they are inoculated from smallpox. That's kind of how vaccination started in the West. So ideally, what you all call miracles is ultimately just what you don't understand.
I like that that you agree that there is something we do not understand. Yeah. That brings us to the place of mystery. And then I would like to say that there are miracles. The main thing is the miracles exist. There are situations, it's extraordinary. Now, you said something about they pedal on, they pedal on. I've noticed that everyone that has come out is talking about a church and not Christianity. We're talking about Jesus Christ here. And Jesus Christ did miracles. And he said, as he is, so are you. He said, I am in you and you are in me. And when you believe that, you have the same capacity. Now, does it mean that his disciples did miracles immediately? No. Faith grows. Now, that people have abused a lot of things in the churches does not remove the fact that miracles exist. That foolishness is occurring in the world does not remove the fact that there are miracles existing. And that's my point. I wouldn't want us to use one thing to cover the whole thing about miracle. Whether you are a Christian or you're not a Christian, miracle exists.
That's what I'm saying.
Time up.
My name is Ava Momo. I am a music composer. I'm an ex-Christian. What we call miracle is just that gap between what happened and what we understand. Anything that we deem to be a miracle is something that we must understand, because what we know about the world is there are rules. You have the law of gravity. You have theories that scientists develop where as long as you create a certain set of circumstances, you get the same outcome every time. If there was a guy that couldn't walk and all of a sudden is walking, what circumstances precipitated the walking? But if you just chalk everything up to a miracle, you just put it up to God, God did it, and then you let it go. Ultimately, forgoing a chance to understand the world better. That's where miracles are dangerous, and things just shouldn't be approached as miracles.
Can we have the next representative come out?
A miracle is something that happens that can only be explained to have been caused by a supernatural hand.
So there must be a supernatural
Yes, for a
thing
miracle.
for it to be.
Yes.
Okay, I know we're talking about miracles. How do you think the people would react if we took an iPad and we took it to before Christ?
Yeah, they will see it as a mystery.
Can we explain it now?
Yes, you can.
So is it possible that there are things we don't understand now that look like supernatural things?
A mystery is what you're talking about, something that we don't have understanding for. There's a difference between mysteries and miracles. Yeah, there are mysteries.
The miracle involves a supernatural
Yes,
being.
the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ was a miracle.
If I started to quote from the meditations, do you know what the meditations is?
Marcus
Marcus Aurelius. If I started to quote from the meditations,
you can quote for him now. I will believe you
would
because
you take that as fact, everything I say from him?
Definitely,
But these
because there were
people-
things that happened.
But these were people that did not believe in the Christian God. They believed in their own gods.
But the fact I'm saying is there are mysteries and there are miracles.
But your definition is not doing justice
It
to
is
what
now.
I feel like the other people that came at least said miracles are things that it's like beyond your normal human comprehension. It's like
Yes,
you
yes.
can't explain. But all you're saying right now is something that happens
Only
as a
by
result. Am I not standing as a result of God right now?
That's what I try to explain to you, that the point of view you are coming out from is because God is the maybe third cause. Like God made your parents to meet, and because your parents meet, they gave it to you, and because they gave it to you, you are here. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it was God in his own supernatural, in his own providence that caused this thing to happen itself. That's a miracle.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, fair.
My name is Timothy Ojoibukun. I'm a graduate architect and a researcher. I describe myself as a striving Christian. Today, I'm on the side of Christianity. I have not experienced a personal event myself that I can call a miracle. However, I believe in miracles. I believe in miracles because I believe in God. I believe in the stories, in the accounts recorded in the Bible. Therefore, I believe in miracles, even though I have not experienced them myself.
Our next prompt is: offerings and tithes are tools for financial exploitation. Both sides, please pick your representative and send them out to tackle this prompt.
The answer is yes.
I agree with you. Because there was a time I called myself an ex-Christian. One of the major prompters for me then was this issue of exploitation, financial exploitation. Yes, tithes and offering can be means of financial exploitations, and we experience that every Sunday, every day, even, during weekly service too, in many churches. The fact that humans take something that is meant to be an act of worship and exploit people does not mean it is not still an act of worship, an act of sacrifice.
So I would like to first tell you that from my understanding, what I've read in the Bible, the core doctrine of giving alms is to, one, feed the Levites. Those are the people that were called to priesthood. And then to do alms to the people of Israel. It is now the Levites that will be in charge of those resources, take their share, use it to take back to the community. And the function of tithe and offering has always been like taxes, to collect back from the children and then be like, oh, offer it to the priesthood of the church to take advantage of the church. Now, me bringing it out is to point out that the time where Christianity ruled like a society is past. It shouldn't be in a point where it's intertwined with the state, where it's asking its people to keep giving. People, like you said, will continue to exploit it to take advantage of you and take advantage of me. They should not have that power, but they do.
What I would like to take out of this prompt is that, yes, there are pastors or there are people that call themselves pastors that exploit people from their tithe and offerings. I pay tithe. Sorry, I don't pay tithes, but I give offerings.
Why don't you pay tithes?
Time up.
The tithes and offering issue was one of the things that led me further away from Christianity at some point during my late teen years. But then I came to an understanding of the scriptures that tithes and offerings that we give are not some sort of donations. It is an act of worship. We are saying, God, I recognize that this thing that I have is from you. And owe you valuable more than it. That's why I can freely give it away. I don't give tithes because I have not just come to that point where I will give a certain amount of my income every now and then. But I give offerings and I give them very well.
Can we have the next representative step out?
Whenever you have people and you have money, anything can happen. The Bible itself says the love of money is the root of all evil. There was a time that I was in church and I felt pressured that, they were talking, you give. When I was now reading the script, I felt uncomfortable with it. I didn't know the reason why I was feeling uncomfortable with that until I went into the scriptures and I realized that what is written there is that you should give willingly, not out of coercion.
So what you're saying is how we should be ideally. But this is not how it is in most churches today. If we're being sincere, I've gone to churches where they have POS.
Of course.
They have USSD.
That gives
anything,
an idea.
You have to drop something.
Now, in
if
my
you say you
church,
don't have change, they'll say, oh, there's someone by the side.
In my church, we have USSD.
I'll ask you one question. Do you feel guilty when you go to church and you don't have anything to drop in the offering?
No, I don't. Because I know that my relationship with God is not
transactional.
Exactly.
You are looking at it from an ideal, how it should be. But that is not how it is. That is not how it is.
Sincerely, you are coming from a place of where human beings are being human beings, and you are taking that as that is how it should be. But we are now saying that that is not how it should be.
We should be thinking of how it is, not how we should be.
No.
How we should be is just...
Because I cannot practice it. Look, if you're saying I should take it how it is, then that means that when I'm talking to my teenagers in church, then I should begin to compel them to pay. That is not even what Christianity is all about.
Thank you very much.
Yes, shake now.
I know people that will say, oh, why didn't you go to church? I don't have anything to drop in offering. Especially church settings where the offering basket is in front and people dance and go and drop. Like, how will I be sitting down when everybody goes and I'm still here? So that shame, that guilt is always there.
Both sides, please pick a new representative to come out and represent you.
I married a medical doctor by training who has been a full-time pastor for 8 years now. We didn't want to collect tithe and offering because of what we've seen in the society. But when he wanted to deny people of the blessings, God warned him. I remember our first inaugural service, we did not collect offering. And it was because we wanted to really break that notion because of what the society has turned out to be.
What is your stance on tithing?
That you tithe or you don't tithe does not take you to hell. I, as a tither, I know there are benefits from tithing.
Do you agree that it's being exploited? Offering a tithe is heavily being exploited.
Yes, but then that's what I came with my experience.
If you're saying people still tithe, isn't that still going by the old law?
As you mature in Christ, you come out of just being under the law into being in grace.
Okay.
And in grace means that you make 100,000 and you chose to give it to a widow. He even led you to go and give it to somebody that was not even a pastor. You can choose to take your tithe as you ask him.
But it's still being called a tithe, though.
Tithe in the word means a percentage out of whatever you're giving. Let's understand the word tithe. It's a percentage. As a Christian, when you have a relationship with God, there are Christians who don't tithe. And there are churches who even say don't tithe. But When you build your relationship with God, whether you call it tithe or you call it a percentage, giving is a lifestyle. Not every pastor is trying to exploit people.
Yeah. No, so that's
And a
fair.
lot of pastors that are not even exploiting are not popular. We're not saying it's not happening in the broad general, but not everybody is doing that.
Okay, so I think that's fair. I'm good.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Now, can we have the next representative come out from both sides?
So, offering and tithes, can it be exploited? Yes, it can be exploited, but that is not what it was designed for. It's also optional. If an offering bag is passed and you drop a 100 naira note, nobody's going to do anything. And because we are humans always have that tendency to use a tool. A tool that is generally meant for farming can be used to do something else.
You've agreed with it, basically. You are, by your own admission, admitting the flaw in your religion. There are so many
it's not a
pastors.
flaw in my
It's a
religion.
flaw because let me break it down for you. I personally think tithing or offering is one of the worst things that happened in the church. The reason why is because people will exploit it, especially when you find out that pastors are incredibly financially well off. There are people who don't have money who go into pastoring for the sake of getting money. When you can use tithing as a tool to start exploiting people, making them give what they don't even have. There are pastors who have said, and this is a fact, you can Google it, the prayer of a poor man doesn't avail much or isn't answered. The roots are in tithing. Ideally, I think that in Christianity, there should not be tithes. There should not be offering. People should gather. People should pray to God. There should not be a professional pastor because that pastor is ultimately living off of donations and tithes and offerings. You should have a job.
Tithing and offerings are not for pastors.
Where does it go? It goes to the church. Who controls the finances of the church? The pastor.
It goes to the church, but you have to take note of the fact that the church runs, the church helps people, the church do a lot of things.
That is my point.
So should the fund come from the government or what?
That is my point.
So the people are bringing a part, a little. Mind you, tithe is 10%, and then it is optional. Like no pastor is going to.
No. That's when people say tithing is 10%.
Yeah.
If you earn 80,000 naira in Nigeria today, 10% is 8,000 naira. That's a lot.
It might be a lot to you.
It's a lot to everyone, depending on how much you earn. Because of tithe and offering, that's why your pastor can fly private jets and has nice cars and is flaunting Gucci online. And then you guys keep saying,
that have private
it's not
jets.
all the pastors. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
Pastors that
but
are
the
rich.
problem is the
Maybe
church is a
exposed to a
representation
kind
of
of
Christianity. But everybody comes up to say, some people exploit it. How can the church be a representation of Christianity and then you condemn the representation based on the fact that it's not doing the way it's not the way it's supposed to be?
Human beings. And human beings can take advantage of anything. So
you admit pastors take advantage of tithing as a tool of exploitation?
I don't say that all pastors take it. I said
some pastors do. That's what the prompt is. So you should have just come to say yes and then press the buzzer.
No, my point is it is not designed to. It can be, but it is not designed to.
Fire is not designed to burn things down. It's designed to cook. It's designed to give warmth.
You cannot say it is fire.
But it can still burn things down.
There is a law of seed time and harvest.
Time up.
That's propaganda, guy.
It's that simple.
You're literally quoting propaganda that validates the exploitation. You're saying it's not designed for exploitation.
Our final prompt is: Christianity has done more harm than good in Nigeria. Both sides, as usual, I need you to send out your first representative.
Christianity has done way more harm than it has done good. My reasons are the fake miracles, monetizing the whole movement and everything. A lot of people have died from that. A lot of people have lost properties. I know of some churches that preach, if you're working in a brewery, quit, don't worry, God will give you another job. If you follow, you will see that nothing really comes out of that.
A lot of religions have done more harm in their different faces and different ways. Whether you call yourself a Christian or not, there is a spiritual being, and that person has a relationship with you, and he will not lead you wrong.
Any negative thing that anybody brings up, you always try to say, that's Christianity, that's not following this thing. But,
no, what I'm just trying to tell you is that Christianity has not done me harm.
You're deflecting.
No, I'm not deflecting. While you were talking, what I heard from you is what churches have done to people, and to the people, individuals that they've told them not to go to this church. They even told them to lose their job. They.
If you mention the good that Christianity has done too, it is still the churches. If, when it's good, you include the churches, and then when it's bad, you say,
if
that's
you
churches,
notice,
not
since I
Christianity.
came here, I'm more particular about my encounter. And they said we should talk personally. When I gave my life to Christ, I didn't go to a church. It was in my room, and nobody told me in and out of it. And so that experience I had was what made me say, I am a Christian. And that Christianity that I've had with God has not done me harm.
Time up.
I was into drugs, I was into so many things. And I remember saying to him, if you can change me, I'm not going to try and make an effort about this thing. And then I was looking at if it would last for 1 year, because a lot of people say, oh, just after 1 year, you're going to go back to how you are. Apparently, it has lasted for 10 years, and it has only become better.
Can we have the next representative come out from both sides?
It's hard to say if it's more harm or more good. I feel like the harm it has caused, it has brought is where thinking becomes a problem. You cannot think for yourself, or as you mentioned before, thinking critically becomes a sin. That is the harmful side, because there are a lot of things in life that involve thinking. Now, the good I think it has done is it has brought comfort. Going through difficult things and you have something to rely on, that's the good thing.
I'll always say one thing, where human beings are involved, you will always see all manner. Human beings have the ability to take what is good, just twist it around, because of so many reasons. I like the fact that you have said that the church has done a lot of good. I'm in church, but I'm not naive. I'm not naive to think that Brother Sunday is a saint, because I know Brother Sunday is human. And I know that if Brother Sunday has a weakness with money, if I leave my money with Brother Sunday without guarding him or looking, Brother Sunday will most likely run away with my money. So I think we should get to the fact that it's the people that are outside that also come into the church, and they are the ones that also live outside.
Would you say that in Nigeria we are over-religious?
It's a very difficult question for me to answer.
In Nigeria, would you say then that Christianity is causing more harm than good?
Like I said, I wouldn't exactly say that. I think the problem is with people.
Do you think that it's also possible as Nigerians we may not be compatible with Christianity, and that's why it's causing these problems?
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to say that we are compatible with one religion or another or another or another. So I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
Please, both sides pick a representative to represent you and send them out.
I first want to say that Christianity has done good before people abuse me. It has provided a sense of community. Christianity gives hope. You know, if your family member is sick, you feel helpless, you don't know what to do, you pray to God. Christianity provides a solace that you really can't get from anyone or anything, you know. But there was a philosopher named Auguste Comte, and then he theorized about 3 levels of society. First level is the spiritual, the second is the metaphysical, and the third is the scientific. And I find out that when people are so about Christianity, they are stuck on that very first level. They haven't advanced to the other levels of society. And the reason why I say that Christianity has done more harm than good, because it has. Number 1, misogyny. First book of the Bible, what happened? Eve ate the apple, did she not? So who is to blame for the condition of humanity today? A woman. Samson, he trusted a woman, Delilah, and what happened? He died. Misogyny is rife in religious texts. People don't really understand that when you grow up with these things, you internalize the messages that it's sending.
Looking at the country Nigeria as it is, I would say Christianity is one of the best things that has happened to this country. Every person that was educated in the age group of my grandparents were educated because of Christianity. The Nigeria that we have today, it rises on the back of Christianity in many ways that we can, that many of us even recognize. Yes, it affects people on a personal basis, but as a country, I don't think so. I don't think the fact that some people go to churches on Mondays instead of them going to church work, that's what's making us poor in Nigeria. No.
Constantine,
okay,
he was the one that said, hey, you guys, everyone is practicing different forms of Christianity. Let's come together. Let's write this Bible. Let's do this thing. And then they wrote the Bible over like 1,500 years.
That's not true.
Wait, hold on. Yes, they did.
That's not
now,
true.
so...
That's not true.
Yes, it is a fact. Google it. So at the end of the day, what happens is a book that teaches you that blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
That's
blessed
not
are
true.
poor.
Let me correct.
The Bible,
let me correct what you said about the Bible.
Previously, you made a point about a better life. God said must carry a body. The Bible romanticizes suffering. Christianity tells you, you have to suffer because your reward is in heaven, or everything is better on the other side. And that's just not true. Because at the end of the day, if it wasn't for Christianity teaching us, and I want you to understand, this is a subliminal thing. Subconsciously, we are being being indoctrinated to be docile and to be meek and to just let things happen. If we were not a deeply Christian or deeply religious society, we would have risen up against our leaders a long time ago. It's true. Yes, Christianity. You always say, "Oh, it's not as a result of Christianity," but it is, because
before Christianity came,
even
you know how we used to
Rome,
live.
that's why you have the separation of church and state, because before people don't realize, say, when you join Christianity, you join it with ruling. It doesn't work.
Okay.
When it's something good, if the church donates 1 million naira to every orphanage, you say it's Christianity. But when it's something bad, you say, oh no, it doesn't represent the church. I think ultimately, if I'm a lost, wandering soul and I'm looking for guidance, I pick up a Bible, I don't understand it, the next place I'm going to go to is a church. So a church is a representation of Christianity.
Can we have the next representative come out from both sides?
Christianity is working as an opiate. It's working like a drug, right? It's like a hard drug. And unfortunately, most of the problems that exist is very much enabled by the influence of Christianity in our society. A lot of the stories that are taught in the Bible perpetuate a lot of harmful stereotypes that we grow up with to see the world. Wait, hold on. You said I should explain and give an example. The way we see women, the way we idolize our leaders. There are many pastors that will tell you you don't have the right to criticize your leaders because they are appointed by God. Even if they are bad, God chose them. It has to be God that takes them out. And they cite the story of Saul and David. But then you now try and make these critiques of people like Tinubu, and you see pastors coming online telling you, how dare you speak? If God chose him, who art thou? And it's so unfortunate, because all these things are a feature, or rather a function of conditioning. And you see these people blindly walking to all these things that do not add any value to their life. It does not allow them to criticize the government. It does not allow them to stand up to abusive bosses. It does not allow them to live abusive relationships. Look at Osinachi, may her soul rest in peace. She stayed in her marriage to preserve it because of how valued the institution of marriage is in Christianity. And she died there. You cannot come and say, tell me that, at the end of the day, Christianity is providing, like, on an individual, it's a personal relationship with you and God. It's bringing some semblance of fulfillment and the ability to navigate the world. When you look and realize most of these problems are directly enabled by Christianity. They are creating a problem and then giving you a solution.
Okay, so let's take this one after the other. So you started by talking about misogyny. Now, understand that this is literature. These are stories. And then
I love that you said that.
Literature books are meant for you to learn from. The fact that they are characters doesn't mean that you're meant to adapt your life to the storyline of that character.
So what are we supposed to learn from the Bible then?
You're supposed to learn the way to live according to God, the creator of man. The fact that Samson, for example, now, he let down his guard, doesn't mean that is how Christians live. According to Romans chapter 12, verse 2, it says that do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. The quality of Christianity that you have is upon the standard at which you have renewed your mind. Now, some of these Christians you are referring to, they got some things wrongly, and that doesn't mean that is what Christianity is all about.
So I haven't answered the prompt again. The prompt is Nigeria better? Are Nigerians better off?
Of course, I was going by a point. Now, all we focus on is just tithe and offering. People go to church, they get motivation, they get a family. Things go on in churches that have helped the life of people
use individual anecdotal experiences as a counterpoint to the systematic problems that Christianity enables. The damage Christianity has caused to this country is too great for us to be using
by humans. So you have to use human examples. It's Christians are practicing.
Okay, great. I love that. For every lived life that can say, Christianity has enriched my life, we can look at 1,000 others. 1,000 others that are not enriched by Christianity.
You cannot categorically tell that. That's a generalization.
Yes, I'm guesstimating,
and
but those guesstimates are valid.
Any danger, when you generalize, you tell general lies. So you don't have any data to prove that.
You are funny. You are very funny.
I don't think Christianity is bad. I think the way it's being practiced in many aspects is bad.
If you have peace in Christianity, stay a Christian. I am not trying to let people come off your Christianity, but thinking is not bad, is what I'll just say.
Fellow Christians that are going to watch this, I will trust God. We would not just carry the tag name Christian, because this then shows how many people are losing their faith on a daily basis.
The reason people have different mindsets because of the information they have received. As a Christian, we renew our minds with the Word of God, and that is what gives us the quality, the fullness of eternal life that we have received.
If you're an ex-Christian, don't take the Bible too literally. You can actually go back to being a Christian if you found some sort of comfort in it. It's not a hard and fast rule that you shouldn't be a Christian. It works for some people. If it didn't work for you, you can try to look for another religion.
I don't know what it is that made you decide to leave Christianity. I don't know what the pain was. I don't know what the hurt was. I don't know what the betrayal was. One thing I know is that there is a God and his son is Jesus, and he loves you beyond what you can ever know.
We've come to the end of today's episode. We appreciate if both sides can step over to each other and give some greetings.
You remind me of my roommate in grad school. She's also doing microbiology.
That's nice.
How you just
So nice to meet everyone.
question. I like
Very good to meet you. Nice.